Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome all to the 10th GAHP info session. We are happy to have Mr. Ludovic Bernaudat with us today. He will talk about the role of the Global Environment Facility's Gold program and the work they do. Mr. Ludovic Bernaudat is an environment specialist with 17 years of experience in research and development projects with a strong focus on mercury. He has co-led the inception of the artisanal and small-scale gold mining area of the UN Environment Global Mercury Partnership since its inception in 2007. As usual, this will be a 15 to 20-minute presentation followed by a Q&A session. If anyone has trouble seeing the PowerPoint, please do not hesitate to send me an email to lucy@pureearth.org, and I will be sure to send you a PDF. Please note that we are open to any questions you may have, so please feel free to ask them. Now, on to you, Ludo.
Thank you. Thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. So as Lucy just mentioned, I'm going to present today about one of the largest program financed by the Global Environment Facility on the issue of artisanal and small-scale gold mining. This program aims at going a bit further than the usual typical technology transfer programs. So the program is called GEF Gold. Gold stands for Global Opportunities for the Long-Term Development of the ASGM sector. It was developed under the leadership of UN Environment in 2016 and involves 8 countries in all major regions where ASGM is an issue. 4 GEF agencies that are leading on the issue of ASGM. So these are UNDP, Conservation International, UNIDO, and UN Environment. The program is composed of 4 major components. We'll go back to that a bit later. The total budget financed by the GEF is $45.5 million, which makes it quite a large program, even in the GEF world. And with a co-financing expected to be around $136 million. So the concept of the gold program was submitted in August 2016 to the GEF Council. It was reviewed on 6th of October by the GEF Council and approved. That means at the moment we're in the development phase of this program, and soon we will be able to submit all the projects related to this program. So a bit of background first. I'm sure all of you are aware of that, but we need to know why are we working on this issue. First of all, mercury. Why do we focus on mercury? The Minamata Convention, which has just been entered into force and which will host his first conference of the parties here in Geneva in a bit less than 10 days, addresses the issue. Mercury has adverse effects on human health. First of all, if we are exposed to mercury vapor, we have various effects coming into play, including the ones listed here on the screen. There is another type of mercury that is also that has serious effects on human health, and it is organic mercury or methyl mercury. This is mercury that has been transformed into the environment by bacteria into a form that can be readily absorbed by biota. Methyl mercury is biomagnified. That means that the more you eat food contaminated with mercury, the more mercury you will accumulate in your body. And methyl mercury is very serious issue because it causes severe neurological damages, ataxia, atrophy, mental disorders, and it penetrates the placental barrier, causing a huge effect on unborn babies. And the contamination by methyl mercury is what we call the Minamata disease. from which the Minamata Convention is called. UN Environment has been working a number of years on assessing the global emissions and releases of mercury. And here you can see a slide that was produced a while back showing the global anthropogenic mercury emissions. By emissions, we understand emissions to the atmosphere. That's all the mercury emitted in a gas form. And here you can see that artisanal and small-scale gold mining represent more than a third of the overall mercury emissions. It's important to know that efforts have been placed and done on the other sectors, but ASGM remains one of the largest user and emitter of mercury. Why is it used in gold mining? Well, a few easy reasons. First of all, it's easy to use. You just need to mix mercury to the ore, and you obtain an amalgam that extracts the precious metals, gold included. It's very cheap. Mercury, you can buy over a kilo of mercury with 1 gram of gold, and therefore the cost doesn't really have any effect on the processing miners try to implement. The miners have very little technical trainings. They are not formalized, and therefore they need an easy method that easily understood by them. Because they are not formalized, they need to produce gold daily to have an income, and other alternatives often require a longer time to produce the gold. They are not aware of the risks, so they don't think that their activities has an impact on the health and the environment. And finally, although mining activities are often undertaken in remote areas, mercury is really easily available, and therefore it makes it a good solution for them. It's released the 2 steps during the process. During amalgamation, here on the left, we have one of the worst cases that is mentioned in the Minamata Convention as a practice to ban. Mercury is added to the drums during the grinding process. This is really inefficient. It leads to mercury emissions of up to 30 times the amount of gold produced. So this is really an issue to address. The second is during the amalgamation. So once you've produced the amalgam, you burn the amalgam to recover the gold, and then the mercury goes into vapor phase. In this step, roughly 1 part of mercury is emitted for 1 part of gold produced. This is burning the amalgam in the open and in residential areas, like is shown on the picture, are 2 of the worst practices that the Minamata Convention is banning as well. Apart from these negative effects, of course, ASGM is a unique employment opportunity for rural populations. Again, we're talking about population with little education background, and who live in very remote areas. Very little alternatives exist for them to make a livelihood. So ASGM is one of the unique way for them to stay in rural areas instead of going to overcrowded cities. It's a good means to transfer wealth to poor population. Mercury is one of the unique commodity that is produced in rural, remote areas, where the miners or the producer obtain a very good ratio of the international gold market. And usually rich people or electronic companies buy gold. So it's a good way to transfer wealth from these people, these companies, towards the poor communities in rural areas. And when it's well managed, it's a good way to alleviate poverty. ASGM has the opportunity to provide well-paid jobs in these places. The GEF Gold goes to, as I mentioned, it's composed of 4 major components. One, the first one is on formalization. This is also related to the Minamata Convention on Mercury, in which Article 7 addressed the sector of artisanal and small-scale gold mining. And the convention requires every country that has ASGM and recognize the sector as important to develop a national action plan where the first step is formalization. It's essential that these communities are formalized if we are to help them improve their activities. The second, and that's the most innovative aspect of the gold program, it's access to finance and access to market. Typical projects in the past have mostly focused on the third point, technology transfer. But in the gold program, we help miners accessing finance to buy equipment that will allow them to produce gold without mercury. And on the other hand, we'll help them produce gold in such a way that they can access international gold market. They will comply with the major environment and social standards. The third component, as I mentioned, is technology transfer. So the gold program is focused on non-mercury technology transfer. So we will work with demonstration sites into introducing ways of producing gold that are at the same time cleaner, more efficient, and which don't use mercury. And finally, a fourth component on knowledge management and communications. The gold program will be the repository of all the information and all the work that is being done around this sector around the world, within the program, but also outside the program. There will be a website developed to host this information, curate the publications, and make the information available in the forms of direct access to the website, but also webinars and so on. So these are the list of the 8 child projects under the program. So a program in the GEF terms is composed of a series of projects, which we call child projects, that are linked together under the goal of the program. And the first child project is a global one on global knowledge management and exchange of information and results through networking and outreach activity. This is a very important activity of the whole overall program. This child project is implemented by UN Environment and executed by the artisanal and small-scale gold mining area of the UNEP Global Mercury Partnership. And then the program is working in 8 countries. We have 3 countries in Latin America. Guyana working with Conservation International. We have Colombia working with UNDP and Peru also working with UNDP. 2 countries in Africa will be involved in the program. One, Burkina Faso with UNIDO and Kenya with UNDP. And finally, in Asia, we will have 3 countries, Indonesia working with UNDP, and Mongolia and Philippines working on the One Child projects to promote, again, exchange of experience with the support of UNIDO and UN Environment. A bit of specifications. I mean, each of the child project will be composed of the 4 components I've explained 2 slides ago. So we won't go too much in detail for each of the child projects that will be implemented in the countries. However, I want to give you a bit of an overview of what the global child projects will be constituted. So as I said, it will be executed by the Global Mercury Partnership area on ASGM, with the main executing agency being an RDC. It's NGO that has been involved in this sector since the inception of the Global Mercury Partnership, together with UN Environment and UNIDO. It has 3 main goals. One is working with the financing sector to attract investors to the program. That's a big component of the gold program. This is where the gold program is unique. Second, to provide information and exchange. So that would be the website. That's where the website is hosted by UNEP and the Minamata Convention, and where meetings are organized within the program, and also global forums will be organized under this component. And third, the education of the general public. So the Gold program will have a series of movies and documents that will be targeting the general public to raise awareness about ethical gold and to create demand for this type of gold. So as I mentioned, outcome one will be linking to potential investors and creating a pilot fund. So the program will have money to when potential investors are identified and have identified pilot sites where they want to work, then this global child will be able to provide additional support to the child project to make sure the investment happens. Second is the communication, the second outcome. So as I said, collect, curate, and synthesize information on formalization, access to finance and technology transfer, and to ensure availability of the information. This is both within the program, what is produced during the implementation of the program, but also what all the other partners and the academia is producing outside the program. We will organize annual program meetings, of course, to update each other of how the progress is going, and organize 3 global fora in which we will focus on program components and in which other countries and other actors will be invited. And finally, we have, of course, a website for communication within the program. The third component is dedication to the public. So develop a program identity with evidently a logo and all the social media that go with new activities these days. And in this component, we will, as I mentioned, develop specific tools to address the general public and to ensure that when the program is over, there is increased demand for ethical gold so that the replication will be ensured. So that's a short presentation on the GEF Gold program. As I mentioned, we are in the process of developing each of the child projects at the moment. All of them have to be submitted by the end of the year, and therefore you should hear from us soon again to participate in our meetings and also our different outreach activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ludovic. I do have actually one little question, if I may.
Yeah.
I was wondering, you mentioned that you're going to be developing this project, this program in collaboration with different organizations such as UNIDO and UNDP. But who will be your partners in the countries?
So there's something that didn't appear in the slides. So each of the child projects will be executed by a different actor. So for the Global Child, as I said, is the Global Mercury Partnership, but each of the child projects will have their own executing agencies. The Artisanal Gold Council, I know, is involved in 2. The UNDP country offices often are involved in the execution of UNDP implemented projects. And the Conservation International will use its office in Guyana also. However, there will be also other partners involved, and that's where we call on to the broader partnership area to express the interest. We have already received a number of expression of interest. We will work with active partners on the ground. OECD has already expressed interest in participating. ILO with their program on child labor in the Philippines. the Swiss Development Corporation for the work in Mongolia and so on.
So all these organizations will probably be working with also with the ministries and different relevant partners on site, I imagine.
Yes, and they're already active on the ground, so they already have their own network, which is important for us to tap into.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. If any of you are watching this video on YouTube, please do not hesitate to send any questions you may have to Ludovic Bernaudat directly. You can see his contact information in this video. Or to me, once again, I'm Lucy, so it's lucy@pureearth.org. As usual, the recordings of this presentation as well as other presentations will be available on the GAHP website and on the GAHP and Pure Earth YouTube pages. We hope that you will be joining us for the next info session 1 month from now. That'll be on Thursday, October 12th at 8 a.m. New York time, on the cost-effective approaches to the management of POPs or pesticides. And it'll be given by Kevin Helps of the UN Environment. And the connection information will be the same as usual. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye, all.